Hey guys, Greg here. Today I'm going to show you how to get your video in and out of Premiere Pro as fast as possible, just covering the basics and what you need to know and get your video from start to finish and online as fast as possible. So let's go. Okay, so we're on our desktop and what we're going to want to do is, you already downloaded Premiere Pro and now we are going to open it. Awesome. Now we're going to open up a new project. So you're going to see this panel come up and we're going to click New Project right here in the corner. And we're going to label it whatever you want. So this is what your project is going to be called. So we'll just call it New Project. Right here, you'll see a location, and mine says Z. This is the drive where your project is going to be pointing at, or saved to, I should say. So we're going to click Browse, and you're going to save it to either your local hard disk or the hard drive, whatever is plugged into your system. So right here, I'm going to plug it into my Z drive. And we're going to right click, new folder, and we're going to call this New Project, just for the hell of it. So we click on that, we hit select, and that's where your project is going to be saved. You don't have to worry about the scratch disk settings too much. I have mine allocated onto a whole separate drive, but for you, when you just open up Premiere for the first time, it'll probably be located on your C drive or your Macintosh hard drive if you're using a Mac. So we're going to leave all these settings alone. We'll go over it in another video in a lot more detail. But for now, click OK. All right, so this is the landscape of Premiere Pro. You have several different windows here, and right here is your project window. So in here, all your media and everything, your files, music, titles, anything and everything that has to do with your project will be located in this window right here, your project window. So to get footage into your project window, there's two ways to do it. You can either go through and manually select your footage and drag it into your project window, or you can go through the media browser. But the easiest way to do it, since we're just going to go through the basics, we're just going to drag and drop the footage. So I'm going to go in here, we'll go into this project. Here's all of our footage. So we're going to select it, and we're just literally going to drag and drop it right into our project window. Boom, easy as that to bring in the footage. You'll see there's a importing files window right here. We're going to let it do its thing, sourcing everything out. Perfect. Here is all of our footage. Okay, so in this bin right here, you can double click a clip and it'll pop up right here in what's called your source monitor. This is basically a preview window. Let me lower this volume. This is basically a preview window that just shows the footage that you just selected. So you can kind of browse through this, click on another media clip, browse through it again. So basically right now, in our project window, we are in a list view. A lot of people like the list view, I like the list view, but a lot of people, their first time around, will want to use a thumbnail view. So right here at the bottom, this icon right here, we'll do icon view, and that shows thumbnails of every single clip in our project bin. So you can easily just go through and find the clips that you know and like. And now, to organize this a little bit, we're going to want to create a bin. So we right click in our project window and we're going to go to new bin. And this we'll just label it as footage. Easy enough. So we're going to go through and we're going to select all of our clips and just drag it in to footage. Perfect. And there's a little twirly icon right here. You can click on that and it'll collapse it. Much better. So now we're going to want to, if you have music, you can do the same thing. We go in through here and you select your music track and you can drag and drop it right into your project window. If you double click it, you can play it and there you go. There's your music. Normally you'll have waveform audios pop up, but since I ripped this online for a friend of mine, you'll see the video as well. Now that we have all of our clips in our project window, we can make a timeline. So I'm going to grab one of our clips and drag it and drop it right into our timeline. That's the easiest way to do this. So now we have our clip, it's selected, and you can go in here, and if it's too small, it just depends on how your settings are when you open up Premiere and everything. You can hover your mouse right over the track and you can raise it and you can bring it down to adjust the track height. So here we go, here's a clip. And actually I want to take that song now. So we double click, we go back in our project bin, we'll click on our song. So it'll be loaded up here in the source monitor. There's an icon right here that has a film strip and an audio strip. And when you click on it, the audio will pop up. We're going to drag and drop it right into our timeline. Boom. Now we have music. There we go. Awesome. So I want to make this a little bigger. And here, your music might be a little too loud. So what we can do is in your settings here in your timeline, you can scroll through and you'll see an option that'll say show audio keyframes. So when you have that enabled, I just had to disable it. Now I'm going to enable it. There'll be what's called a rubber band. The rubber band, you can, on your audio track, move it up and down to adjust your audio levels. So say I don't want any audio in my main clip with the background noise and everything like that. I can grab the rubber band here and drag it all the way down at 0 decibels. And so it's just the music playing. Now if the music's too loud, you can bring it down just a little bit using the rubber band. Like that. Now, if you want your audio to move up and down in levels, you would grab the pen tool. Here is your toolbar right here in this menu. And right here is your pen tool. You click on the pen tool, and on the rubber band where you want your adjustment, you can say you want it a little higher right here, and you want it to kind of like fade in when it's a little lower. So you click right here and you can drag this rubber band down, and you'll see that the rubber band right here goes up, and that's how you make your audio adjustment. So it'll start out really low right here. Let me make that right here on an actual part of the track. So the same thing, we can have it low and then start up, ramping up really high. Like that, perfect. All right, so we'll have the music fade in like that. Right here is your selection tool. You can click on that. And if you come to, say you want the song to start like at a different point, you can go ahead and go to the head of the clip right here, the start of the clip, and click with your selection tool, and it'll turn red, and then you can drag it over and trim your audio. And you can also do this with your video as well. And if you click on your audio, you can drag it back. You can hit play on the space bar, and your music will fade in. Awesome. So let's find some other clips in our project window. So if you like the icon viewer, you can click on the icons or make it like a thumbnail view. And let's see. Scroll through the footage, double click. Here's some cool footage right here of the LA Galaxy team coming through the field. This was shot at 120 frames a second. So to get this footage into the timeline, say you like these clips right here, what you're going to do is set an in and an out point. You can hit I on the keyboard for in, and say you just want to go about to right here, hit the O for an out point, and you can literally grab the video icon and drag it right over your timeline, right over the footage. Boom. Now it's in there. Now you'll see that the video isn't scaled properly. So what we're going to do is you can click on the clip, and then up here, right next to your source window, there's an effects control panel. You click on that, and you can have all the parameters for your clip. So right here, we're going to go to scale, and we can actually scale this clip up to fill the whole frame. There we go. Perfect. Now say we want this clip to fade in to the next clip. So we're going to use an effect, and it's called a cross dissolve. So it's the most basic transition that you can use in anything. So what you're going to do is go to the tail end of this clip, click it, make it red, and then you're going to right click and you're going to say apply default transition. Now when you do that, it fades. It fades right into the next clip. Awesome. And we can do that with the beginning as well. We'll hit play. Fades in. Fades out. Perfect. Now let's clean the footage up a little bit. We're going to do that by using the razor tool. The razor tool will allow you to make a cut in the footage. So say we want this to fade in and then we want it to end right here. You select your razor tool and you go over to your clip, click, and you made your first cut. Now we can go back and select, use our selection tool, click on the clip, and we can hit the delete key. So go back to our project window and we can look for another clip that we like. This one's pretty cool, some flags flying. Perfect. So we're gonna hit an in point, we're gonna drag out point, and we're gonna drag down that clip right here. Hit play, boom, there's our next clip. Now, if you wanna add another transition into that, you totally can. So in between these two clips, you'll see that they're separated. You can click right in the middle and then right click on your mouse and hit apply default transition. Now, if you want the transition to fade a little longer, you can grab the transition on the tail or the head and drag it out to make the transition a lot longer. And there you go. Perfect. All right. Now these cross dissolves can actually also be put into the audio as well. So if we click our razor tool, come down to our audio, say we want to make a cut right here, you can cut. You get our selector tool, which is the shortcut for that is the A key. Click on the part that we don't want and hit backspace, gone. And now say we want to fade it out right there. Click on the tail end of the video, right click, apply default transition, done. Now let's say you want to add like a fun title to the video, or if you're doing an interview, you want to implement like a lower third graphic. We can totally do that by going up into here, and we can go into our graphics panel. That'll load up a lot of cool templates and everything that Adobe's provided so you can put in your text graphics. So right here is basic title. You can grab that, drag it, and we drop it right on our timeline. Now, see your title here. What we can do now is double click on the title and type in anything we want. So let's see, we'll just type in my buddy, Cousin Feo, dash LA Galaxy Day. Perfect. Now here in this window, you can select different fonts, bold, change the sizing, whatever you want to do to your heart's content. You can even add drop shadow, black bar, whatever you'd like. So that's how to put a title right into the video. Say we want this title to fade in to the video, no problem. We have our selector tool here. We're going to come down and we're going to drag, trim it up however we want, and say I don't want the video right or the graphic right over the video. We can again trim this, bring it over. We'll click on this clip here, we'll drag it down, and so now we have the graphic, and we can put a fade right in between this clip and the graphic. Apply default transition. There you go. Fade in, another transition. Awesome. So let's get back into our editing workspace. So instead of being in the graphics panel, let's go over here into editing. Awesome. Excuse my dog. She's growling at another dog because, hey, calm down. I'll give you a treat in a bit. So now we're back in our editing panel with all of our basic windows and everything. We hit play. You can see where we did our transitions. The music's coming in. Awesome. So let's find another clip to kind of finish this out. This looks pretty good. Awesome. So we're going to go in our in point, play, we'll stop it there. Our out point, we can drag this clip down, put it there. Now this is a little shaky. So what we can do actually is apply an effect. The most basic effect is a warp stabilizer effect. So we go right here where our project window was, you'll see another window called effects. We can click on effects, and in the little search bar, you can type in warp. And as soon as you do that, warp stabilizer will pop up. You'll grab this effect, drag it over to your clip, and let it go. You'll see on your program monitor that'll say analyzing in the background. If we click over here into our effects control tab, you'll see right here that the warp stabilizer is processing the frames to make your shaky footage more stable. So we're going to let that run in the background and do its thing. In the meantime, this footage was shot in log. So basically all the colors are compressed and flat and they look muddy. So what we can do now is we can actually brighten it up and make it look really, really nice. What we're going to do is go where we're in our graphics tab, we can go into our color tab. Now this will bring up the Lumetri color windows. We make sure that we are clicking on our clip. That's very important because you don't want to be coloring the wrong clip. So we're going to click on our clip of these soccer players. And here you have basic adjustments in your color correction, your exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, yada, yada, yada. You can get very detailed with this, but for the sake of this video, just to get your stuff in and out of Premiere, we're just going to do a really, really easy color grade on this, or color correction. So a very basic one is that you can go into curves, and this is your RGB curves right here. So we can click and drag up, and then you can go down to the tail end of the curve, click and drag down to add a little more contrast. And we can go into the basic correction tab, and we can up the saturation a little bit. Here we can go into our exposure, expose the clip. There we go. Add a little more contrast right here. And then depending on how you shot your footage, you know, if you can make it colder or warmer with the temperature. Let's go for a nice semi-warm tone right there. Perfect. Awesome. That looks much better. So back in our timeline, we can click play, and now our footage is colored. Awesome. Now, if you notice that your computer's having a little trouble playing back the footage because you're applying effects and whatnot, you can lower the resolution that it's playing in. In your program window right here, you'll see this, it says full. You can select all these different levels of quality. So you can do like half res, quarter res, 1/8, and 1/16 res. So a lot of people, I mean, with my system, it's very robust, so I can play back in full quality, but a lot of people do like half or quarter. So let's just go half. We'll go back into our editing tab. That looks awesome. Perfect. Now that we color the clip, none of the other clips are colored, but say that you're in a rush and you just want to get the video out as fast as possible, we're going to go and we're going to make an adjustment layer, and this adjustment layer will color all the clips in your timeline, roughly. So we're going to go into our control bin, or our control panel. We're going to right click, new item, adjustment layer. The adjustment layer will be the size of the composition, or the size of your timeline dimensions, I should say. Composition is for After Effects. Adjustment layer, we're going to drag it on top of the footage on another track, and we're going to stretch it out with our selector tool, grabbing the tail end and dragging it. Now we can click on that layer, and we can go to color. Back in our color tab, we can make our adjustments. Since it's a little flat, we can bump up the contrast, bring down the shadows a little bit to add a little more darks. Saturation, we can bump that. Awesome. Now let's make it a little warmer. Great. And so you can click on this tab to enable and disable, and that looks much better. Now that that's done, let's check on our warp stabilized clip. Awesome. So we can see here, it stabilized it pretty well. Let's get a little before and after. So we can go here into our effects controls, and under warp stabilizer right here, we can click this effects button, click it, and it'll disable the effect. So we can go back on our timeline, hit play. So a little shaky right there. But if we click on the effects button again to enable the effect of warp stabilizing, it's much, much smoother. Okay, perfect. So now that we have all these clips, we have a title, we have our color, and we have our audio, and it fades out. So now that we've done all that, we can go through and clean up the timeline a little bit. I just like to drag my clips down. In here, you can, to delete an effect actually, you click on it and you hit the backspace button, and we can click in between the clips here, apply our transition again. There we go. Awesome. Let's put another transition here just for fun. Perfect. Actually, let's take that off. To undo something that you've done in your timeline, you hit Command or Control Z. Now, sometimes like when you have too many effects or layers in your timeline, your footage will play back very choppy. What you'll want to do is actually render your sequence out, and that way the computer processes all the clips so it can play back way smoother for you to preview. So we go into here, sequence, and we go render in to out. The computer will process the clips. And just depending on what you have and how many clips and layers are stacked, it could take a minute, take a few minutes, take a couple hours. Just really depends on your video. Perfect. Now we're going to have smooth playback throughout the whole entire video. Perfect. Color's good. Transitions are good. And fade out. Perfect. I think we are ready to export to YouTube. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, Export, Media. Now this will bring up your export window, and don't worry about anything. It'll more than likely default to H.264. So up here in your format box, you're going to click on H.264, and your preset, we can scroll down, and there's actually a YouTube 1080p Full HD preset. And there's also like a bunch of others for your phone, mobile devices for Twitter, Vimeo, etc. But for this, you know, YouTube 1080p, totally fine. We're gonna click on that, and right here in your output name, we're gonna navigate to your folder where your project was, and we'll just call this Premiere Tutorial. Save and export. And it's as easy as that. So as this exports, you can navigate to your folder and go to your web browser, open up YouTube, and drag and drop your video, and you're good to go. And those are the basics on how to get your project in and out of Premiere Pro as fast as possible. So if you like this video, like and subscribe. If you have any other suggestions for any future videos, please let me know in the comments below or DM me, and I'll see you in the next video.